Leadership 360 is brought to you by GOL, V5 Solutions Limited, and FV Global Consult. I promise on my honor to be a better leader every day, faithful and loyal to my country, organization, and fellow team members, countrymen and women. I pledge myself to remain true to the core values of integrity and self-discipline through my daily choices and actions. My mind is alert, focused at all times. I shall show respect to everyone always and every time. I remain a better leader and team player always. So I pledge.
And so I pledge too. And welcome back. In my intro, I indicated that the foundation of every development effort, sustainable development efforts of all societies, hinge largely on leadership. Last week, we looked at leadership beyond certificates. Today, we are looking at leading or leadership across diverse generations. Today, we are examining leadership across diverse generations. But before we do that, a quick reminder that we are live on Metro TV, DSTV channel 277, and live on Facebook as well. Tell a friend to log on and watch us. Now, on to today's topic. The hallmark of every effective or great leader is to work across all generations, regardless of the ages, the backgrounds, or qualifications. There are several generations across, which leaders need to work with. At the workplace today, we have basically about 4 different generations at the workplace. We have the baby boomers, we have the Generation X, Generation Z, or what is known as Gen Z, who are basically the millennials, and those who are in school now preparing to come out basically are the ones that you can describe as the Generation Alpha. But these generations at the workplace have certain characteristics that we need to understand. And this is important because as leaders, our understanding and appreciation of the typical characteristics of these various generations or diverse generations will go a long way to support our leadership drive. And that is why it is important for us to get to understand. Now let's look at the baby boomers. The baby boomers are largely those who were born between 1946 to 1965. Most of them are now in maybe at the political level, they are the ruling class, at the presidential level, they are within organizations or businesses. Most of them are board members or even at the C-suite level and all that. And they have certain characteristics that we need to take note of. And these characteristics include, but not limited to, the fact that they are very, very optimistic people. They look forward to getting results. Because of the time or the period within which they were born, they have seen the possibility in everything and they pursue it to the latter. They are very good at mentoring or coaching younger generations or others at the workplace. Wherever they find themselves, they are good at ensuring people are real in tune with whatever they need to do. And they have very good or strong work ethics as well. And that is why, even the other generation need to understand the way they operate. Now, when you look at Generation X, which I belong anyway, means they are quite independent. They pursue things independently because of the kind of coaching they have received from the baby boomer parents. So they are quite independent. They believe themselves as well. They are quite innovative. They have stronger communication skills, very strong communication skills, because that is what they have been impacted, by the baby boomers. Now let's look at the Gen Z, or the millennials before the Gen Z. They are tech savvy. They were born within the period when technology was at, the introductory stage and getting momentum. Typewriters were being faded away, computers were coming in, and so this generation grew up being tech savvy. They were born into technology, they appreciate technology, so they resort to the use of technology in doing most of the works that they are assigned. And they are focused on the greater good of everybody. They tend to pull everybody along because they work faster with technology and all that. Unlike the baby boomers who had or who are having challenges or who have quite a lot of challenge with technology, even as we speak. Then the Gen Z, they are 1997 to 2015, and they are digitally fluent. The time they were born, they have already gotten themselves fully immersed into the technological space or the digital space. So they are quite very robust at technology. So now, with all these characteristics or idiosyncrasies surrounding these various generations, it is very important that there is good for us to appreciate the gap that will exist within the knowledge base. And this gap means that we need to kind of close that gap. If we are to close that gap, what do? We need to appreciate that these gaps offer, a positive aspect to us, or a positive, support to the leader, where it enables the various generations to coordinate, to collaborate, to be able to solve problems, to be able to have understanding from diverse perspectives. What a baby boomer will understand with regards to a problem will be different from what a Gen Z person will understand. So sharing perspectives will provide a very well-informed, point of decision making, where you are well-informed from all angles. And then that means also that with the baby boomer generation present still at the workplace, opportunity exists for the younger generations, Gen Z, Gen X, to learn and be mentored by such people. So if you are a leader, be it in baby boomer generation or Generation X or Generation Z, you must understand that there's opportunity to make a difference. There's opportunity to learn the characteristics or the nuances surrounding each generation, the work ethics and the approach to technology, the approach to problem solving. You need to appreciate that. So that is the opportunity. But how do we do that? How do you get to close that gap? To benefit from the positivities offered by the gap, how do we get to appreciate and use that, diversity at the workplace to achieve more? That is what we're going to talk about, where we believe that we need to rethink about the boring stuff. That is exploring and utilizing technology, as much as possible, because you have a generation at the workplace, or you have a generation of team members who are tech savvy. How do you harness that capability, technological capability, instead of resorting to the regimented approach or the traditional way of doing things, which is boring to this other generation, Generation X and Z? They find the usual routine work quite boring. So how do you do that? You need to rethink the process and make use of the capability they have in technology. And then you must also allow flexibility in their working periods. When COVID came up, we all saw how we comfortably work from home. It came handy to most of the other generations. Baby boomers had to kind of resort to a lot of learning to be able to withstand the pressures that came with COVID. So we need to be flexible when we are dealing with the other generations who can work remotely. Now, remote work has become the order of the day, and we need to appreciate that. As older generations, we need to know that the younger people resort more to the use of technology. And we also need to give, good reasons why certain things must be done, not because this is the way it has been done. We must also learn from them. We must be flexible in our mindset. We must be ready to pick up whatever it is. But before I will end and then take your calls, let's go quickly to how so leaders, what do we need? What do we as leaders, to be effective, what do we need? We need to appreciate the diversity of talent available at the workplace. We also need to appreciate the fact that there's diversity in the demographic elements within the workplace. We also need to have an understanding of the digital awareness that exists among the younger generations, and we must also have global perspective of things, how things are moving. Today, we are all reading about AI. So we need to appreciate that to be able to lead across, these generations. Now, before I come back and we pick your calls, let's take a quick break and we shall be right back.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Welcome back. The phone lines are now open, and you can reach us on +233 531 982298 +233 531 982298. While waiting for your calls, let me stress that helping the generations, be it at the latter day generations or the older generations, to learn, we must be culturally and technologically aware of where we are. So we appreciate the fact that the working ethics of the older folks different from the working ethics of the younger generations. It is very important to appreciate that, because that, to a very large extent, determines your readiness. Remember, we said on this show earlier that we must be constantly ready to learn new things, because the world is changing so rapidly. Technology is advancing. Economically, things are changing so fast around us. COVID has left us with so much to grapple with. And so if you are in a leadership position and you believe that you will make a difference, you must be culturally and technologically aware. Culturally, I mean the organizational culture within your organization or your company or your club or your nation. You want to ask yourself, as the leader, the culture within the company, is it good enough to harness the potentials or the talents existing across generations? If the culture is not good enough, you need to change. And this is where you have to also appreciate change management processes, which we'll be treating later on this show. Because without you appreciating some of these things within your organizations, any effort at understanding the generations may not work, because the younger generations may not open up if the older generations have a strong posturing against their contribution, or they speaking out. The younger generations, we said earlier, are quite, good at communication. They like to air their views. They are innovative. They are tech savvy. They want to contribute to a solution in a more faster and, a swift way that you don't really need to waste time to finding or having lengthy discussions or meetings to agree on. So how do you tap into that space? To be an effective leader, you must appreciate that level. Now, today, I hear a lot of people complain about the young people are lazy, they don't appreciate work, they don't like work. The truth of the matter is that, yes, you may be right, but the fact that they want to do things, in a faster way or at their own time may not necessarily mean that they are lazy. But what it means is that you need to support them to appreciate. You need to also support them to learn that these are other better ways of doing things, even though they are also good at other things. We cannot sit on the fence and, as leaders or as older leaders, say that the young people do not have anything to offer. Most of these guys are very sharp. If you give them opportunity, they will excel and you will be amazed at what they can do. Yes, culturally in our part of the world, more often than not, age is equated to, ability to do or to lead or intelligence, if I may put it that way. It may not necessarily be so. Being around for a long time does not necessarily make you an experienced person. If you have been doing the same thing over and over and you master that process, it doesn't make you an experienced person. But if you do that, you go through that process differently with different approaches and you have found better ways of doing it, it means that you are highly experienced. So experience should not be equated to number of years that you've been around. It must largely be equated to how best or better, what better ways you have found in doing the routine things that you have been doing, or what changes you have brought to the process. On that note, let's pick our first caller. Sami, good afternoon. Sami from Accra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, so I have a question, Doc. And
Yes.
my question is, how do you handle the Gen Zs, like the Gen Zs now, they call themselves Gen Z. So my question is, how do you handle them and how do you teach them to become leaders?
All right. Thank you very much for the question. Like I said, to be able to support or lead the other generations, talking about the Gen Z, you need to engage them. You need to, first of all, engage to appreciate or to recognize the typical characteristics that they have. It is very important because without you, the leader, understanding the way they behave and why they behave the way they behave, it will be difficult to give them the right support. So once you understand them, now you relate it. You align it with your own experience, your own way of doing things as a different generation, and try to educate, support them to learn, like I said, culturally, and you also learn from them technologically. So by so doing, they will appreciate that, okay, you understand the way they work, you understand their characteristics, you know the way they prefer to do things, you support them to be innovative, support them to develop themselves, and then they will now listen to add your mentorship or your coaching for them to achieve more. So you need to get to understand them before you can be in a better position to support them. So while we wait for other callers, let's continue. In leadership, as we are discussing with regards to leading across generations, this is very critical because organizations or even nations develop policies that do not factor in the needs or requirements of younger generations. And some reflect, or the results reflect in the outcomes. You go to certain companies the solutions being proffered to problems within the company or by way of rendering service, it's not reflecting diversity at the workplace. It is more of how long somebody has been around or how, old somebody is, which is not good for leadership. It doesn't matter. If you are a leader today and you think that because you have been around for a long time, and for that matter, one young or one small girl coming from school is being placed above you, you do not deserve that. Please rethink, because the relevance of your knowledge, as said on this program, that the relevance of your knowledge and experience is rendered so obsolete in no time. So you need to appreciate the generations. Thank you. Good afternoon, Nuhu from Tamale. Good afternoon, Nuhu.
Good afternoon, Doc.
How is Tamale this afternoon?
Tamale is great.
Please go ahead.
Yes. My question is, as a leader, you're working with diverse people. How can you? There are some people that are slow learners. Others are very fast. So those people, how can you blend them together so that you can achieve the needed results within your required time or the time that you need things to be done effectively?
All right, no, thank you very much. Understanding human beings is a whole process on its own. And it requires, remember we mentioned on this show that leaders above everything, above competence, above the vision, above commitment, above the interpersonal skills and everything, leaders need to have emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence we spoke about as understanding your own emotions and that of others. So you want to appreciate what, first of all, the work ethics of these generations or this person is. And then you also need to also appreciate what emotional issues exist therein and your own vis-a-vis your own emotions. Because more often than not, in the bid to support the growth or to get the work done, some leaders get so emotional that they chastise instead of supporting the younger generations to appreciate the need to work faster towards a result. And it also boils down to you communicating very well the vision, the why. The why is very important. When you are able to communicate that to the individuals to appreciate why they need to do what they are doing, how it feeds into the overall profitability, then you understand that this is the way, this is the better way to go about it. So when you do so, when you support other generations to do their best, to work together as a team, to promote teamwork at the workplace, to work harmoniously, to harness people's talents so as to achieve the shared goal, you are honoring not only yourself, but your organization and your country as well. That is why we believe on this show that we must pledge, we must, subscribe to an honor code that will guide our actions each and every day in our leadership effort. So let's take a quick look at our honor code.
I am a proud and firm African. I will take a stand. I will lead and be the change. Come and take my hand. For the safety, honor, and welfare of my country and company come first. Always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the people I lead come next. My own ease, comfort, and safety come last. Always and every time.
Welcome back. Indeed, we need to ensure that our own ease and comfort comes last, always and every time. And that is the interesting thing about leadership. And I came across this book that can give you a guide to effective leadership. It is The Jigsaw Effect of Leaders The Jigsaw Effect of Leaders by Dr. Genevieve Duncan Obobi. Please get a copy on Amazon and you will understand the critical rudiments of leadership. Some of the issues we have discussed on this show are available in this book and others. Let's build our knowledge base to be able to provide that servant leadership that we require very much in these trying times. The rapidity of change occurring around us, the economic transformation on the globe requires that Africa innovates. We need to innovate in our leadership drive as well. And that is why you need to be an ambassador of the Leadership 360 show. It's nice having you around. I hope to see you next week where we're going to explore other details of our Leadership 360 show. Thank you and bye.